Hello YouTube and welcome to All Your Base Miniature Painting Tutorials. Today I'm going to do a Necron Overlord. I'm going to start out with Lead Belcher. This is the base coat for the model. I'm going to cover his legs, arms, parts of the weapon, his face. All of that's going to be done in Lead Belcher. Give us a nice solid gray to start off with. And if you'll notice, I started this model off with a black base coat of black primer from Vallejo, and I also did the power weapon. I started this model several years ago before I decided on my color scheme, so he got the Space Marine power weapon treatment. Make sure you work everything into the details, get down into the crevices. Just get a nice even coat over everything. Gonna go ahead and get his other arm here and his resurrection orb, which I crafted out of a necklace bead from my daughter. Thank you very much. Now for Warp Lock Bronze. This is going to be the cape. The kind of lamellar armor, segmented steel cape here. I really like the look of the Necron capes and kind of cloths. So this is part of this model I've been looking forward to painting for a while. Again, just making sure I'm getting all of the surface area covered. I'm not being too particular on how nice it is, how clean it is. We'll clean it up later. I'm gonna get the underside of the cape here. Now I'm going to start with the base while the model is drying. I like working on the bases at the same time as the models. It gives the model time to dry, gives me time to be creative with the base, and I like doing a lot of custom work with my bases. This is just some scrap packaging material that I set to the side and said, oh, that would make a neat base one day. Cleaning up all the excess with a Dremel tool, making it flat on both sides. And here I am trimming a piece of stretch steel, a very thin piece of stretch steel. I'm going to fix that with extreme power thick super glue. And because the steel is so thin, it bends up. So what I actually ended up having to do is get it fit right with super glue on it, and then I had to attach some clothespins to hold it down while it dried. Here's the finished product. And I'm going in with just some PVA glue, regular white Elmer's glue, so that I can frock it. And I'm actually going to frock this piece with some old coffee grounds. They make a really good stony, rough, gravelly texture when you get down to the scale of the model. And I'm just going to clean off the stretch steel because I want that to pop through on the final model. Now for an accent piece on this base, I'm winding some Cat 5 copper cable that I stripped. Just wound it around a drill bit, and then you stretch it out with your fingers very easily. And it makes a kind of a communication telescoping cable kind of a look. And to attach it to the base, I'm just going to pre-drill some holes, not all the way through the base. And that'll give me 2 points that I can affix each end of the cable. Little test fit, little extreme power super glue, and it'll be attached to the base. Back to the model. I have a Blood Angels army as well, so I'm a really big fan of Mephiston Red. And instead of just having a bunch of tin looking Terminator guys, I figured the red would be a good contrast color. Now while the shoulders are drying, I'm back to the base. I'm just using some craft acrylic brown. I believe this is a burnt umber, just to get a nice base coat on there. And now we have Vallejo Air Metallic Steel. I really like this paint. I think it flows on really easily. It doesn't require any thinning because it's thinned down for an airbrush already, but it covers amazingly well, as you can see here. Now we've got Brass Scorpion. This is going to be the first dry brush on the cape. I want the Warp Lock Bronze to stay underneath, so I'm doing more of a thicker dry brush, if you will. Now we've got Warpstone Glow. I thinned that down really thin to go into these runes on the power weapon. And I also use this color for the eyes. Again, following the Blood Angels kind of color theme. I really like that color theme. That's why I chose Blood Angels to begin with. And I'm going to paint the sigil on his chest as well. Provides a nice color break between the metals and the red. Here I am starting the first round of washing, and you'll notice that I'm using a detailed brush, because on the Necrons, I really want to get the wash down into the engraved details, and I don't necessarily want to wash the whole model, because I'm not going to come back and dry brush it again with a lighter metal color. So just making sure I get it down in all the cracks and crevices, just to bring those lines out and make them pop when you look at the model. And paint the crystal on the end of the staff, and then I cover this crystal, the step's not in the video, with a transparent green acrylic to make it look like glass. Here I'm starting the wash on the cape, and this is with Nuln Oil. Again, the cape has a lot more lines, so I'm very aggressively washing it. Now we have Agrax Earthshade on the base, and this is just to put the lines between the gravel. And we have Typhus Corrosion here to kind of dirty up this nice clean looking steel and make it look like a war-torn battleground. I approach all of my models with the idea that I reached down from the sky like the God Emperor of Mankind and plucked the models out of battle and took a little bit of the battlefield with them. So that's why I like spending a lot of time on the bases. It gives me a way to be more creative and be a little bit different than everybody else at the game shop. So there's the Typhus Corrosion on there. And we're starting with a dry brush of the Vallejo Steel. And this is to blend it all together, make those sharp lines where the Typhus Corrosion dried a little bit softer. And I'm also going to dry brush the coil. I'm going to keep the dark underside and the dark inside of it. I'm just dry brushing the top of it to make it stand out off of the base. I'm going back in and I'm painting the lines of the stretch steel because I want that to be kind of an accent to this piece as well. Maybe not as much as the coil, but I want you to be able to see it. There's very clear defined lines here. I actually went back with a dry brushing and another wash of Agrax Earthshade to soften those straight lines. Now for Screamin' Bell. This is going to be the last dry brush layer, so I'm truly dry brushing at this point, just making sure to hit the high spots on the cape. Give it a nice highlight to pop off of those lines. And there it is, finished. Now I'm basing the model up, getting the foot in the right place. I make all of my models with braces in the feet. It makes it a lot easier to glue them down to the model. So I'm drilling the hole here now for the brace, and he'll be glued in there. And here he is, all finished up. I really enjoyed painting this model. It took me 3 or 4 hours over a few days to get him done. But I think I really hit the mark with this this turnout here. So thanks for watching the video, guys. If you give me a like and subscribe, that'll just let me know to make a few more of these in the future. All right, have a good one.